Hey guys, Earl here with CSI-Absolute Clean, taking you on another episode of The Breakdown. In today's episode, we're going to go over a limestone floor in the lobby. And so this particular floor we've been looking at and working with the management company for over a year. We've helped them clean it, seal it. They've thought about restoring this floor, and unfortunately, the last time they had any major service, they used a company that did a bake on finish on natural stone. So I kind of want to get into that really quick before we go into the actual job. So there are companies out there that provide bake on finishes. Basically, it's a coating that's applied to the floor, and they have a UV machine, and they go over this thing and kind of bake on a finish on top of the floor. Now, some of the benefits of that is it gives you a nice gloss, a nice sealed finished look, and the baked on finishes are pretty durable. However, in this particular floor, the client was not happy with the baked on finish. Maybe it was the product, maybe it was the installer, in which case, for whatever reason, we didn't do it, unfortunately. And they didn't like the performance. So, and I think it had a lot to do with how they put it on. But again, I don't know that information, what product they used and how they actually did it. Maybe they failed in their preparation. But in some of the retail stores that I have seen with this baked on finish, I'd have to say it performs pretty well. And unfortunately, we don't provide that service. I don't like the finish of it, or some of the performance issues associated with having a baked on finish. I'm not saying it's good or bad. Me personally, I don't like it, and so I don't like to spec it into the scopes of work that we provide for our clients. So some of the issues she was having with this floor is the unevenness of the finish as far as how it looks from an angle. With the proper lighting, you will see it has a lot of high-low spots where they probably could have used another application or just did a heavier application the first go around. So why are we called into this floor is because they don't like the wavy look of the finish. It has high spots, low spots. And what I mean by that, high spots is shiny, right? Your low spots are, looks like there's no finish or not equal in sheen. And so the reference of high and low spots in this particular floor is that they didn't like how that was looking. And they were dissatisfied. They asked the company to come out and remove it. They removed some of it to the best of their ability. However, at the end of the day, to remove the bake on finish, you're going to have to perform a full restoration. A full restoration in our industry, of course, is grind, hone, and polish with diamond abrasives. Or to make it simple, basically it's wet sanding with diamond sandpaper. So with that kind of backstory, let's get into this floor. You'll see these pictures here. You'll see my tape line. My tape line here, and we are scheduled to perform the service. However, I always like to set expectations so that you know exactly what you're going to get and how the floor is going to perform for daily maintenance. Because she kind of had this negative experience with the past service, they decided to go in opposite direction of making this floor a matte finish. So in this little area here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to strip, grind, and remove the existing baked on finish to achieve a matte, low sheen or no sheen finish at all, which can kind of be tricky because where this floor is located is right in front of the glass entry doors. This is a highlight area, meaning a lot of light goes through here. And even a floor that's considered matte or flat finish will have some level of reflectivity. So what did I have to do here? I had to strip it, grind off the baked on finish, get it back down to the natural stone. So the baked on finish has a weird feel. It's kind of like plasticky. It has a film on top, which it actually does have a film on top to protect the floor, right? So if you ever felt this, it feels plasticky. It doesn't feel like a natural stone. So in this section of the floor, before we proceed to do the whole service, what I want to do is set the expectation of what the floor will look like. So I had to grind this off, strip it and grind, hone the floor to a medium hone so it would not have any reflectivity. And then afterwards, dry it, buff it out, and apply an impregnating sealer to protect the stone from staining. Some of her concerns on this floor is there's a lot of red markings, and I'm not sure that you can see it from this picture. And she was asking if I could remove them. Those red markings are part of the stone pattern. So to her, she was seeing one thing, but actually it was part of the tile pattern. And if you were to actually see this whole floor, you would see those consistent red markings throughout the whole floor as it is part of the stone's pattern. And the maintenance guy I was with there, Saul, he's the guy that maintains this floor daily. So he had probably more questions aside from what the floor, how they wanted the floor to look. So a big part of job sites is knowing who you're speaking with and addressing their concerns. So that's a big part for us. The person I'm speaking with on this job is in charge of this building. They're a management company. However, the chief engineer, as you'd call it, in this building, he's in charge of the daily maintenance. So he has a different perspective and challenge daily than a person that just is managing the building overall from an aesthetic and a financial aspect. His job is how are they going to clean it when it rains, when it snows, all the things that occur on the floor, the soil levels. How is this thing going to clean up on a daily basis for him so that him and his staff can have the most effective cleaning program in place after we do the service? So that's very important for us too in working with the teams that are already in the buildings that we work in. The work in itself of what we have to do to achieve what clients want is fairly simple within reason. I mean, we either can or cannot do it. And that's one thing we're very upfront about. So in this case, you wanted matte, we can get it to as matte a finish as we can make it without leaving cut marks on the floor. And kind of when you're sanding it, imagine the machine making circular motions with sandpaper. And just like wood, when you sand, the lower, more abrasive grits leave a scratch pattern. So if you've ever done any kind of sanding or worked wood shop in your life, you know that the higher grit you go, it removes the sanding patterns from the previous step. And so the challenge here is to give her a matte floor that looks neat and clean without leaving those sand marks as we progress up in the steps. And I was able to achieve that for her. As you can see, I'm going to kind of post some of these pictures as we scroll along. Ultimately, at the end of this thing, it was sealed, buffed out, cleaned, then post cleanup. Very important step of what we do is, in order to do what we have to do, we have to, in essence, make a mess before you make progress, right? When you sand the floor down, when you wet sand the floor down, you create slurry or mud, what's referred to in our industry. And what that is you're lightly removing an ever so thin layer of this material. And so imagine if you're wet sanding, we're using water and solutions to assist in removing the pre-existing coatings. So as we grind that water, and this floor is a brown, so you're going to see a brown slurry. That's part of the material that's submerged into the water. And part of the chemistry that we do to keep this mess at a minimum is we have some proprietary alkaline solutions that we mix into our water. That what it does is, as you're sanding, right, if you sanded without water, you would create dust. In which case you would attach a vacuum and try to suck up as much dust as you can while you're sanding. In our case, it's different because we're wet sanding and we're containing all the dust within the water. And the solutions that we add on there actually attract all the soil and encapsulate them in the water so we can vacuum it up and keep the job as clean as we can during the process that we're performing. So I know, sorry, I went on a little rant there. It's a little more technical probably than you would care for, but it's all like all those little details in what we do. And even at that, at the end of things, there's, let's say we did all our sanding with the floor is the way we want it to look. We achieved the end result we wanted. We still have to then clean that floor to remove any kind of haze, smudges, residue. So that's a final step. And sometimes you got to repeat that step twice over, just depending on the material and porosity. Because remember, once we grind on the stone, we're opening up the pores. In essence, the stone is unsealed and at the most absorbent state that it could be in before we reseal it and buff it out and make it to a more maintenance friendly floor after we leave. So with all that said, the goal was achieved. And unfortunately, because of schedules, the person making the decision is not on site. But that's very typical for us to schedule a job. One of our service guys will come in, do a little bit of sample so that they know what the whole floor will look like at the end of things, and any questions or concerns are answered during that time. Because where we don't want to be is in a position of, here's what we want, here's what you thought we wanted, here's what you did, and then ultimately here is what you left us with, right? At the end of our service. So if we fast forward through all that, here's what we left you with. And you say, well, it's not exactly what I wanted. It's a little bit shinier than I wanted or a little bit duller, whatever the case may be. And then the third element of that is, here are the guys who have to take care of this floor daily. And where do they stand? They are the ones with the challenge to have to, okay, they want this floor to look this way. Now, as a person who works in this building as a full-time custodian, let's say, I have to maintain it so it remains looking this way for as long as possible to minimize, cost and be more cost effective. And so that's why, providing a sample is really good for the person who has a vision of how they want the lobby to look or floor to look. And then also having the people who are maintaining it daily involved in the process from start to finish so that everyone's on the same page. There's less misunderstandings. Oftentimes that we've seen in our industry is we walk into a new job site with new management companies, new chief engineers, maintenance staff. And the first question I always ask myself is, why are we here? There's people here that maintain it. We are not the only company that does what we do. And so something happened that caused them to call us to solve a problem or provide a solution for what they currently have. And a lot of times we are at a new place, a new building, meeting new people because there's some kind of disconnect between the current service provider and the building management. So what we do very well is communicate and set expectations. Because if it's not going to work for you, it's not going to work for us. I'd rather for us to cohesively work on a solution together in the beginning, and at the end, we all win. You're happy with the product we gave you, and the maintenance team is happy with what they have, and they understand how to maintain it. And as a service provider company, we're happy that you use our service, that you will continue to use our service to maintain your property. And it's a win-win-win. And at the end of the day, that's all we're looking for. And so in creating these videos for you of specific case examples is for our audience out there, for the people who call us, that go on our website and email us with inquiries that we face daily. Everyone has challenges daily. And for the part of it that we do as a service, We like to be clear and assist people and help out. And sometimes what people want and what we can do don't mesh. It's rare, but it does happen. In which case we decide, no, this project is not going to be good for either one of us because it's going to leave you with a product you don't like. You're not going to be happy with our team, and your maintenance people are not going to be happy with what they have to deal with every day. So we really try to find that trifecta where it works for everybody. And so when we started producing these videos about a year and a half ago, it really is the result of the years of customer service and helping people on the phone, helping people on site, the emails we address. And we just started writing these things down. What do people ask for? And how can we shed more light for people who are looking to have a service done? Should they? Why should they? Is it even feasible? You know, looking at their daily budgets for maintenance in a building, does it make sense for them? Does it make sense for us? So it really has helped us and our team and helped a lot of our clients, even some of our pre-existing clients will go back and watch some of these videos and still pick up like a nugget, that little tidbit of information that was very helpful for them and their staff. So with that said, let's kind of recap this project. We took a floor with a baked on finish. They didn't like it. They didn't like how it was performing. We got called in to take care of it, to remove it, and also change the appearance of this thing 180 degrees opposite of what it was. So what you're seeing pre-existing is a shiny floor. At the end of it, what we have is a matte finish sealed floor. And for whatever reason they went that route, you know, it's not my decision to make. I'm here to facilitate what they want, how they want it, when they can have it done, and all those things. Those things I can control and work with them on. But why they want it from a shine to a matte finish, I don't know why. It's not my decision. All I can say is that we can do that to a level, and is it acceptable for you? The way this floor is going to perform at a matte finish, is that really what you're looking for? So let's wrap up this episode. I know it's been a while since I've done one, and unfortunately, you know, we're coming out of kind of like that crazy COVID time where our office was very limited access. We were work from home. So I apologize for not producing videos for the last few months. And we just had to go through some changes as a company, just like the rest of the world. And I'm sure all of you out there may be watching this. You know, we've all our lives have been affected. And so we're excited for the change of things to come, the reopening of things, and getting back to whatever the new normal will be. And so again, my name is Earl with CSI-Absolute Clean. You're watching an episode of The Breakdown. I hope this information helped you out. If it does, give us a like or subscribe. And if you want us to see a video, particularly about your floor, feel free to drop a comment on there. You can email us directly or call us on the links below. And we're here for you. Thank you very much and have a great day.